The courthouse. Still, Priscilla was just 28 years old. According to Elvis, there was no third party involved in our divorce. For me, it was a vocation. My absence was excessive. Priscilla received a $42,000 Rolls-Royce from him, and he gave her a white mink coat. He then made fun of their $2 million divorce settlement, saying it wasn't fair to her. The way he put it, that's our relationship. In 1978, Priscilla told the public that they were still very close and that she and Lisa Marie still visited Graceland together, acting as if nothing had changed. As a family, we remained. Lisa reported feeling more stable as a result. Priscilla reflected on their time together and expressed her gratitude for the wonderful memories. You gain greater wisdom as you become older. Unfortunately, Elvis's health suffered due to his lifestyle choices. His health deteriorated as he was surrounded by enablers and battled addiction. His passing at Graceland on August 16, 1977, at the young age of 42, cemented his place in music history as one of the most famous figures. Elvis had a history of hooking up with kids as young as 14, so Priscilla wasn't the only one. Elvis Presley, A Southern Life, written by historian Joel Williamson, exposed a darker side of the king. The 22-year-old Elvis, according to Williamson, would engage in pillow fights, tickle, wrestle, and kiss a trio of 14-year-old females on one tour. Forbes, Francis was one of the girls. He allegedly took notice of me when I was 14 years old, according to her. Elvis's 14 years were the most enchanted. Yep, that's right. Elvis, who was approaching 40 years old at the time of his divorce from Priscilla, pursued Rika Smith, a girl of 14 years old, 2 years later. According to Alana Nash's book, Elvis and the Women Who Loved Him, the king had a thing for teenage females, ages 14 and 15. She writes that he desired virgins so that they would not have anyone to judge him by in her book, since he was self-conscious about his Good to See You Again on Our Channel. Good to see you again on our channel. Blonde vocalist Agnetha Fältskog and creative powerhouse and lyricist Bjorn always appeared doomed to live happily ever after. Their marriage, however, was far from harmonious, and they eventually split up, which continues to plague their story even now, after all these years. Both Agnetha and Bjorn were only starting out in their respective professions when they started dating. At a gathering in 1969, Bjorn, then a young songwriter, met Agnetha, who was quickly becoming a star in Sweden's music industry. They became inseparable at first sight and swiftly rose to the status of Sweden's musical power couple. The simpatico they had would go on to form the foundation of ABBA's sound. However, the foundation for their future conflicts was laid even as their relationship flourished in the workplace. The relationship between Agnetha and Bjorn, who were first romantically intrigued by each other, eventually became a consistent source of friction due to Agnetha's shyness and sensitivity and Bjorn's pragmatic and decisive attitude. The band ABBA was only starting to take shape when Agnetha and Bjorn were married in 1971. As they raised their children, Linda and Christian, and toured the world as part of a worldwide music phenomenon, their lives seemed to mirror the positive melodies they composed. Unfortunately, their stardom quickly turned into their downfall. The constant obligations and the separation from her family were too much for Agnetha to handle, while Bjorn flourished in the spotlight, ready to grab any chance that came his way to help the band expand. The tension between her roles as a mother and an international celebrity ate away to their bond. Waterloo, which ABBA performed and won at the 1974 Eurovision Song Contest, catapulted the band to worldwide stardom, and subsequent singles such as Dancing Queen and Mamma Mia further enhanced their heyday from 1974 to 1977. However, Agnetha struggled with the mental toll of continuous travel behind the scenes of the spotlight. As she lost out on formative times with her small children, her yearning for stability intensified. Even though they won together, Agnetha felt more and more alone in the marriage. Their lives were moving at a breakneck speed, which was thrilling for Bjorn but a confusing muddle for Agnetha, further dividing them. Their domestic lives took a hit because of it. Even though they shared a home, they were two very different people when they weren't touring. Agnetha took comfort in their children and the peaceful countryside, while Bjorn, ever the workaholic, hid out at the studio. Their growing estrangement was exacerbated by the demands of their divergent wants and needs, despite their best efforts to heal the rift. Disagreement arose between the pair because of their divergent views on celebrity and family life. Agnetha wanted a quieter, more private life, and Bjorn wanted to be an adventurer. He insisted on extensive tour dates and guest appearances, reasoning that the band couldn't afford to lose any opportunity to capitalize on their fame. At the same time, Agnetha longed for moments spent at home with their children, as she felt more and more alone and burdened by their busy lives. Their once minor differences became intolerable as they festered and eventually became insurmountable. Conflicts between them frequently erupted during recording sessions. Conflict arose when Bjorn and the rest of the band planned lengthy tours and Agnetha expressed her unwillingness to be continually moving. Many times, Bjorn would brush off Agnetha's worries, thinking they were nothing more than roadblocks on ABBA's path to success. Long pauses would follow these arguments, during which Agnetha would withdraw into herself while Bjorn would keep working on their next major project. Along with the emotional barrier, Agnetha's phobia of flying made the already stressful travel schedule much more so. Even though Bjorn never really understood it, she started to dread every tour announcement. Their inner troubles stood in stark contrast to their public personalities. Even though they appeared to be the ideal pair to outsiders, their inner circle was aware of the widening divide between them. During recording sessions, Agnetha's melancholy was regularly recognized by friends and colleagues. Her eyes revealed a desire for a simpler life, one that Bjorn's aspirations couldn't fulfill. They had hit rock bottom in their marriage by 1979. The emotional toll of a relationship that appeared to demand Agnetha's total sacrifice became too much for her to endure. However, it seems that Bjorn wasted little time getting over it, as he started dating again not long after they broke up. This abrupt change was difficult for Agnetha to accept. In the span of a few months, she had to endure the double tragedy of her husband's death and his subsequent infidelity. Although those on the inside were not as taken aback by the divorce announcement, the general public was. For a long time, Agnetha felt trapped in the relationship and confided in her close friends about her emotions of despair and loneliness. Agnetha was the one who started to separate after the decision was finally made. After what seemed like an endlessly demanding marriage, she eventually confessed that she felt like a shell of her former self. Rebounding quickly with another woman only made things worse. Feelings of betrayal intensified Agnetha's anguish as she struggled to cope with the breakup of her relationship, seemingly unaware that Bjorn had already moved on. She became even more isolated when tabloids began to portray her as the destitute wife, a story that, albeit simplified, had some truth to it. Fans were forced to question how much of the genuine passion in songs like "The Winter Takes It All" was actually real, as if the sorrow of those months had seeped into ABBA's music. For ABBA's benefit, Agnetha and Bjorn continued to work together professionally even after their divorce. A lot of people have said that the strain that resulted from this relationship was quite tense and emotionally complicated. Although Bjorn has frequently played down the intensity of their breakup, Agnetha's point of view exposes a more profound anguish. She has alluded to the difficulties of juggling her celebrity with her own desires, suggesting that Bjorn's plans for their future frequently overshadowed her own input during their relationship. As their mental scars from their breakup lingered, the pair struggled for years to find a way to perform together. For the benefit of the group, they put on a front of professionalism, but weaknesses became apparent, particularly during their last concerts. As a result of the growing distance between them, their once warm and humorous exchanges became distant and formal. In addition to the heartbreak of her marriage's end, Agnetha's suffering stemmed from the knowledge that she had given her all to maintain an unsustainable connection. Regarding the hurt their split caused, Bjorn has expressed his regret. However, he frequently stresses the creative achievement that ABBA gained from their personal struggle, which brings attention to the ongoing difference in how they deal with the breakup of their partnership. The now reclusive Agnetha has been cagey about discussing those years, rather to dwell on what came after her time with ABBA. However, there is still an air of unresolved matter that hangs over her interviews. Agnetha and Bjorn's marital tale continues to captivate fans and journalists, even though time has passed and ABBA members have moved on in different ways. Love and ambition, connection and isolation, personal needs and professional demands. Their relationship exemplified all of these tensions. It is a sobering reminder that even the most lauded achievements could conceal unspoken pain and repressed feelings. The complexity of their friendship is evidenced by the lasting fascination in their narrative. Even now, admirers try to deduce the couple's real relationship status from interviews, song lyrics, and live performances. Many consider Agnetha's solo work as an extension of the introspective process she started when performing with ABBA, as it frequently addresses topics such as love, sorrow, and perseverance. Time has not erased the memory of their past, which looms large over them both like a reminder that no amount of fame can cure all scars. A bittersweet reminder of the price of success and the frailty of the ties we cherish. Their story is an essential component of ABBA's legacy, replete with love, heartbreak, and unrealized ambitions. Audiences are captivated by the narrative of Agnetha and Bjorn's marriage, even after all these years. Fascinated by the public breakdown of such a great relationship, fans and media have attempted to decipher the emotional undercurrents in their songs and the dynamics between them during interviews. Songs that express themes of contemplation, healing, and lingering grief typically carry remnants of Agnetha's prior experiences, particularly in her solo career. Her choice to avoid the limelight in the years following ABBA's split may have been an effort to regain the seclusion and quiet she had sought during her marriage. Bjorn had a different takeaway from the story. He was able to look back on his life and move forward by incorporating his experiences into his work, such as co-writing musicals. Although his public character has always been tainted by the memory of their romance, the public's curiosity with the connection between Agnetha and Bjorn persisted even after ABBA's recent internet efforts, as fans wondered if the passage of time had helped mend the scars caused by their separation. In addition to the music they made, their narrative has stood the test of time because it captures the nuances of love, ambition, and the costs and benefits of striving for greatness. It is a sobering reminder that even those with seemingly perfect lives, a brilliant career, abundant talents, and boundless success, can endure devastating loss. Many see Agnetha and Bjorn's relationship as a metaphor for the complicated dynamics between those who thrive in the spotlight and others who endure the personal sacrifices that come with professional success.